Hello everybody, this is John and this is the Merschman Seeds Weekly Outlook, February 10th, 2018. Well, it's been a pretty harsh week across many parts of our area here. You know, the reason why is we have the current dip in the jet stream with some really cold air up to the north. You can see in the southeast quite a bit milder. And we're being dominated by this dip in the jet stream more than this mild weather in the south, and that's where we're getting a lot more rain. And you can see that really clearly right now with temperatures. Look at this contrast right through here. So we have a boundary, we have an action area. It's going to be quite messy over the weekend, maybe into early part of the week, due to this boundary. But there's your cold air, there's your mild air. So when we get those transitions, we get a lot of active weather. Now over the last week here, you can see really just two areas to look at. The southeast U.S., you know, quite a soaking rain. This is the third one in a row. There's another one this weekend, so really have changed rivers and soil moisture and lakes over the southeast U.S. over the last 30 days. But over the Midwest, the story was snow, very heavy snow band right through here. It was localized, it wasn't all that widespread, but if you were in that, you got a pretty heavy snow. You can see that here, this was up to a foot of snow, including the Chicago area. Heaviest snow was right through the central part of Iowa, through northern Illinois, parts of Indiana and Michigan, and then on to the east over northern Ohio as well. So we look at what the snow is on the ground, we can see here there's still a bunch of snow on the ground. Actually, the darker shades of purple there, that's indicating almost, maybe 10 to as much as 20 inches of snow on the ground. So we're starting to build that up now, and I need to watch that really carefully because I'm very focused on spring snowmelt flooding. So it looks a little bit more vulnerable this week than last week, but still, if we look a little bit further north, remember I said it's localized? Well, look at this. We have sort of a weak area here. There's not much snow at all here. Go further south, not much snow at all here, and actually we're in a drought through this area right there. But water equivalents, if we melted all that snow, that would be 2 to 4 inches of water equivalent in some of the parts of northwest Iowa, Minnesota, very small part of Nebraska, and along the Great Lakes in Michigan and that region right there. Over the last week, departure from normal temperatures, that cold air is really hugging the northern tier of the U.S. Now, these aren't actual temperatures, these are departures. So we know that it's normally colder in the northern plains and upper Midwest, but these are actually temperature departures. You can see that it was 15 to 20 degrees below normal over parts of anywhere from Montana, North and South Dakota, Minnesota, and parts of Wisconsin. Then as we got into the central part of the Corn Belt, Kansas, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, still colder than normal, but more like 5 degrees, maybe 10 degrees below normal. So we're getting quite a disparity of soil moisture here. That's not unusual. That's, typical, but, the soil moisture is going to be very important for a number of reasons. It's going to be the key not just to our spring snowmelt flood potential, but also for the growing season next year, at least the start. So we're still quite wet in Ohio. We're quite wet in Michigan here. Ohio, it goes back a long time, last spring, that it's been wetter than normal. We're also getting sort of an expanded band of above normal here. I don't think this is necessarily anything to worry about, but that is an emerging wetness. I think right now it's actually sort of positive that we get a little bit of that recharge. But what is more worrisome is here, Kansas, Missouri, and southern Illinois. This area here is, so dry. And it's in an increasing and expanding drought in this area, so we need more precipitation in that area. Now the good news, I think most people would say we're ready for spring, is that temperatures are starting to rise. I have the arrow here points to the dashed line, that's the normal temperature. This happens to be Des Moines. You can see it's starting to accelerate. So between now and the end of the month, the temperature rise starts to accelerate, and that continues right through April into May, that very quick rise, especially in March. So it does look like, from a climatological perspective, we should be warming up or getting milder over the next couple weeks. So the jet stream here, this is this week, and one of the things that I want to bring to your attention is look at the blue here. That's the departure. So if you're under blue, that's saying the jet stream's further south, you're likely to be colder. But it's sort of confined here. It's not really sinking all that far south. So we do have cold air, but the coldest anomalies right in here are sort of remaining in this area. But we are getting cold air sinking over the area. We have this boundary, and that's why I say it's going to be a little messy here. If we look at the precipitation forecast, we have some very heavy precipitation moving over Kentucky, Tennessee, brushing the eastern Corn Belt, not really getting in there. Now the problem's going to be that this right in here is going to be, north of here, is going to be in the colder air. So we're looking at some snow over parts of Missouri, Iowa, Illinois. Not necessarily a heavy snow. It looks fairly light. Nothing like we had last week. I think a bigger picture as far as hazards is going to be this ice here from Oklahoma, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, parts of Ohio, as well as Kentucky, especially Missouri, southern Illinois, and parts of Indiana. So that is going to be over the weekend, and that's going to be probably our biggest weather risk as we go through the week. So we get into the 6 to 10 day range, and we still have that pesky cyclonic circulation, dip in the jet stream, but it's holding that air, mainly coldest air up to the north. So if you're in the Dakotas, Kansas, northern Iowa, or maybe even most of Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan, it's going to be a frustrating time because this cold air is just going to linger, actually, right into the middle part of the month, if not at the end of the month. If you're in the central Corn Belt, Kansas, Missouri, southern Illinois, Indiana, it's probably going to be more normal temperatures. Now we get into the 11 to 14 day range. Very little change. We still have that cyclonic flow. I think temperatures might be a little bit milder than this, but again, I think the story here is the upper Midwest, upper plains, Great Lakes, colder than normal, middle Corn Belt, near normal temperatures. Now this week, this storm track is going to be the one giving us our active weather. It's going to be very early in the period this weekend. I think I talked about that. Second week, nothing all that impressive. There might be one, but the rainfall anomalies are keeping the southeast U.S. the most active region. So that could brush southern Illinois, southern Indiana, and Ohio. You know, where that rain falls, or snow, if it falls in Missouri, southern Illinois, southern Indiana, it would be pretty much a welcome rain. But if it gets into Ohio, it's going to keep you quite saturated. So anyway, the takeaways from this week's briefing: winter weather early, not as active as last week, cold air lingering, especially over the northern Corn Belt. Here's your hazards: much below normal temperatures, the 12th and the 13th. And then here are your winter weather advisories right through here. That'll be early this week. So still pretty much a wintertime forecast as we get into the middle part of the month of February. Not nearly as active as last week as far as that really heavy snow, but still a variety of winter weather impacts, both temperature and precipitation. Hope you all have a great week. Stay warm. I'll be talking with you again next weekend.